Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Bible, one book, one verse at a time. Today we're looking at the last of the 4 biographies of Jesus, the Gospel or the Good News of John. Now, all of the gospel writers start in different ways. They start with either a genealogy like Matthew does, or Mark starts with the explosive announcement that John the Baptist has come as a fulfillment of the prophecy that someone would come to announce the Messiah to come. And then suddenly the Messiah shows up as Jesus shows up there with John's work. And then Luke talks about the birth narratives of both John the Baptist and Jesus and introduces so much of the things that we think about during Christmas time. But John starts way back at the beginning. He talks about how this person that shows up, that comes to be among us, was there at the beginning, was with God at the beginning, was God. Everything that's made has been made through him. And then that person has come to be among us in the person of Jesus. And we have seen grace, so the graciousness of forgiveness and new life and an offering of a fresh start, and truth, the truth that we need to follow him and submit ourselves to him and be people who actually live out the new life that has been given to us. And John continues this whole story of grace and truth and of love, the emphasis of love that Jesus has for the people that are with him and for the crowds that are there, and that God then through him has for all of us, is a huge emphasis in the book of John. And John doesn't hide the fact that he's trying to do something. At the end of his gospel, he says that there's so many things that Jesus did that not even all the books in all the world would be able to contain and tell all of the things that he did. But the things that John wrote to tell us about who Jesus was are there to help us to understand and to trust and to believe in him, that he is the Son of God, the anointed one that was sent into the world. And I think this brings us to the key verse that comes in John chapter 3. Now this is one of those verses that so many people know. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, so that whoever believes in him would not perish, but would have eternal or everlasting life. This is one of those verses that so many people know because it is so central to the whole story of the Bible, particularly to the announcement that Jesus is the one who was to come. And this verse sits in the middle of a conversation that Jesus has with a teacher of the law at the time who's trying to figure out who this Jesus is and how this salvation thing works and all of this stuff. And the image that Jesus uses to tell that person about what it means to follow him and to be renewed is the image of rebirth, being born again. This, of course, confuses this teacher of the law. He's like, how can I do this? I'm an old man. That doesn't work. But Jesus means it spiritually, that we essentially receive new life as we become a new, fresh creation, a new person. We get a fresh start full of hope and possibility and newness. All of that newness that we have when we look at a baby and we go, oh, isn't it so cute? There's all of these new things. There's so much opportunity and so many different possibilities within that person's life. And the same is true for those of us who follow Jesus, because God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, so that whoever believes in him would not perish, but would have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him.